Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another predictions video, and in today's video I'm going to be predicting the Masson versus Ngabu fight. If you're new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like the video, and let's get straight into it. So, going into this fight, Masson is 13-0 with 7 KOs, and Ngabu is 21-2 with 15 KOs. This fight is for the IBO World Cruiserweight title. Masson's last fight was a win via unanimous decision versus Turchi, and Ngabu's last fight was a loss via split decision versus Tishenko. This is in Masson's home country of Australia. Masson is a southpaw, and Ngabu's only other loss came versus Okoli. And just to speak more about what I've just said there, Masson, of course, his last fight a win against Turchi. Tough opposition for him, a step up in opponent, but it was one of the fights of the year, a great contest, a very good victory, and maybe not overly convincing, but one which showed some of his best ability and showed that he can go and dig deep and push through these tough fights where you have to have these fights, these step ups and fights which you're going to show that you can go to the dark places and go to the depths and dig deep, and he did that, and he did that very well. And I mean, they both left that fight looking quite rough, but it was a very good fight, and like I said, possibly contender for fight of the year that was. But now another step up for him in opponent, progressing nicely now. And Ngabu, of course, he's coming off the loss, but he's been in there with some tough operators. He's the more experienced fighter. He's obviously, like I said, fought the likes of Lawrence Okoli and went 7 rounds with him. Obviously, he did get stopped, but he didn't get stopped in his last fight. It was a close split decision, and so I think he's still at a good point to be a good fight for Masson. And so let's speak more about the fighters. Of course, like I said, Masson's a southpaw. He's coming off the back of a big win, of course, and so he's might have that little bit more added confidence from that. He's an inside fighter a lot of the time. He's got kind of 2 styles to him. So I'll talk about one of them, which he used majority of the fight versus Turchi. He was an inside fighter. He traded blows, plants his feet. He was tough. He found the openings well. He's got a physical presence. He's got a high output. Can outthrow you in the process. He will give it his all. But then he also has another style with him, which he used a little bit against Turchi, but has used well against other fighters, where he can be light on his feet. This happens possibly a bit earlier on in the fight though. He can jab well, he's got good movement, and he can use that, and did show that a little bit against Turchi, but he's definitely showed more of the inside type fighter. Maybe it just depends on who he's fighting, or maybe it just he begins to fight opponents' game a bit more, or I'm not sure, but it shows that he can fight in multiple different ways. He can fight off the back foot as well as the front foot as well, and so he's quite well rounded, but he does get hit a lot, especially when he does plant his feet. He can be pushed back, like I said, by getting hit. He, in my opinion, is better in close. He can fight at mid-range, but I feel like he's better in close, finds more success in close. He can be too tough for his own good at times, taking too many shots. In the process, he's got a good chin as well. He's not a long-lasting style if he is going to be on the inside. If he's going to be boxing on the outside and using his jab, then it will be more of a long-lasting style for his career. I mean, he's 31, I believe, now, so he's not going to have a crazily long career, but if he wants to last it longer, he probably should be fighting more on the outside. He's going to have all the pressure on him, of course. He, like I said, does fight opponents' fights at times, and that can be a negative about him. It means he can get dragged into a war, or can necessarily fight more on the outside when he needs to push the tempo a bit more. And maybe he is overlooking Ngabu here and just thinking, now I've fought these kind of close to top level guys, then maybe he should be at that top level. But these fights are vital, and they're very tough fights, and they're ones which you definitely can't be overlooking your opponents for. But let's speak about Ngabu. He's experienced, fought at a higher level. He is aggressive. He's a come forward fighter. He's pressure fighter. He's powerful if he'll land. He does throw some big blows, and he will push you back as well. And I feel like I said, this will be a tough test for Masson. Like I said, I feel like it'll be interesting to see what kind of style and how he chooses to play out with this fight. I feel like there is multiple ways which he could fight this fight, but Ngabu, I feel like, will be a tough test, like I said, and he has fought at that higher level, so he knows what to expect from these top level guys, and he could find success in his own right if Mason is going to keep getting caught with shots. And Ngabu throws big shots. He throws them from the deep places. He comes from low down and he comes over the top, and if he's going to land, then he could find success. Of course, he is aging in his own right, and Ngabu, he's 34 now. He's coming off a loss. He does walk into shots. He's not got much kind of movement, head movement, body movement. He tires. He's a bit wild, a bit reckless. Struggles at range. Struggles to find you when he is at range. And struggles against boxers. Struggles against speed as well a bit. And he's not overly an amazing boxer anymore, but he is just one of them kind of just on the world level guys where you do need to fight, and is going to be a tough test, and is going to show if that boxer can prove that he is at that top level. And so if Mason wins this convincingly, then he can be proven that he is at that top level, but he has to do that, and of course it means he is the favourite for this fight, and I think that he will win via unanimous decision. I would just like to see him possibly boxing more on the outside, not getting caught quite as much. I think I'd like to see maybe a bit more of a smarter display here, and then win via unanimous decision. I don't think he will get the stoppage, to be completely honest, unlike Coley that did that, but I still think it'd be a clear unanimous victory. Then where does he go on to? I think then it's another step up. I don't think then he goes into a world title, a big major world title after this, but I think it is another step up. I think Makabu, Cheslak, Dorticos, they're all good fights. They've all fought top level guys, and they're all still highly ranked, and I feel like that could get him really up there in the rankings if he fought somebody like that. And it's just opportunities and finding them opportunities, and I feel like there are opportunities there and available for him. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like if you didn't, like, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.